up somehow.
Yes, my Straight Talk family, I am here, and I do apologize for what I would call a tardy start. I'm right here, and I'm reaching and communicating with you on the World Wide Web. So I say greetings to all, and welcome to another edition of Straight Talk. And I must say, good night, St. Kitts and Nevis. Good night to the entire Caribbean region. And as I said, we are on the World Wide Web, so I find it imperative to say greetings to the Caribbean, the Kittitian, and the Nevisian diaspora, wherever you are in the globe. I know that some of you are in Africa. There's some of you in Asia. There's some of you in Europe. And there are a whole lot of you all over North America. So I'm at liberty to say good night. I can say good morning. And I will also say good afternoon, because one of such greetings will be applicable to the region in which you now find yourselves. And for the first-timers, we welcome you and thank all those who continue to share that link. So when you do, we get first-timers. And for the first-timers, we trust and hope it won't be your last time. And we can also inform you that Straight Talk is a public service program heard each Monday and Thursday from 8 to 10 in the PM. And we facilitate and we promote free expression on all issues of national interest, be they legal, be they environmental, be they technological, social, economic, and of course, political issues. On this program, we try to raise the level of national, regional, and international discourse. We try to raise the level of national, regional, and international consciousness by alerting our people to their rights and to their responsibilities. My name is Ian Patches Liburd, and I give Almighty God thanks for blessing me with yet another opportunity to join you in conversation on yet another occasion. And as your host, I'll continue to pledge to be an advocate of truthfulness. And I can assure you as well that nothing, absolutely nothing, is watered down on this program, neither by omission or by exaggeration. Because Straight Talk is not about sensationalism. We're not about creating excitement, because we always lean on the facts. And it is my bounden duty to present you what I call the unvarnished truth, my Straight Talk family. We present you the unvarnished truth, the plain truth, especially when it comes to governance in all parts of the world, wherever we find ourselves, because we are connected with people, as I said, in the diaspora, together with people across our federation. And we say welcome one more time. Some of you we know, and some we do not know. Some we have met physically, some we have met spiritually, but we are a different people. And we entertain what I call a diversity in views. Some of us will agree, some will disagree. But please do not disappoint me and ever start to become disagreeable. So let's thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight. And as always, let's thank Almighty God for helping us to understand as well. Oh, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. Let us therefore hope and pray for that day when we'll all sing, His praise together. So welcome again, my people, and thanks one more time for those who continue to share that link. And when you do, as I said, we do get first timers, and please continue to do so. I always, my Straight Talk family, remind you that Straight Talk is a participative program. By that I mean we include your calls at some stage in the program. We include your calls and your emails. And if you're so minded calling, the numbers are on your screens. If you're the ones who I normally like to say who crave for the cloak of anonymity, we give you access via our email platform, that is, and that address is also on your screens. For those who have the Alexa, have access to Alexa, you can as well hear us and see us live on Alexa. All you have to do is say, Alexa, play Massive Vibes Radio, my Straight Talk family. And we do as well promote our observation in review. That's a very integral part of our program. And when we ask questions, we provide updates, and it's a learning process. It's a learning process because we want to know what new we have learned as a people. And we also must welcome our Straight Talk Brigade: Jasmine, Young, Dwayne, Tristan, Shamar, Kevin, Rue, Costa, Jamal, Travis, Trevon, Neymar, my grandson, and Saraya, Elizabeth, that special lady in St. Louis. And I met Akala just a few days ago. She asked me to hail us Akala from Point Sable, from the town in Sandy Point, that should be. I trust you are logged in. And after our observation in review, we will move as per normal to our thesis for tonight, which I have titled, "We are one signature away, hundreds of millions profit from destiny." We are one signature away, and we are hundreds of millions of dollars. That should be hundreds of millions, my Straight Dog family, from Destiny Project. Hundreds of millions from Destiny Project. On a sad note, though, we learned of the passing of Wesley Galloway, or Wesley Galloway of Bird Rock. I think he served for a short moment as director of audit. I stand to be corrected, but he served in the audit department forever. And we learned that Wesley has gone to the great beyond. He used to mourn an entire family, including his son Akim and his brother Veer Galloway and other members of the family. And we always say that death is a process. So we extend our condolences to the family of Wesley Galloway and trust he will rest in eternal peace. Moving to our first observation, and we go to Barbados. And in Barbados election results, there was another clean sweep, believe it. The Barbados electoral map is posted here. A clean sweep by the Barbados Labour Party, headed by Mayor Amor Motley. But it's the lowest election turnout, believe it or not, in 75 years since adult suffrage there in 1951 in Barbados. And you see the turnout just a little over 30%. Lowest turnout ever in an election. What it is, we don't know. But we know as well that it was a snap election and seemed to have caught the Electoral Boundaries Commission as well by surprise. There were some little hiccups, but from all reports, it was a free and fair election. We know that, unlike St. Kitts here, the Electoral Boundaries Commission is an independent body, takes no instructions from the political directorate. But there were some hiccups, and Mayor Motley, in a victory, implored her colleagues not to turn the eyes away from the concerns of her or their constituents.
For a third consecutive elections, the Mia Motley-led Barbados Labour Party won all the seats in another convincing electoral victory and sets the stage for an unprecedented third term. Neil Rowe was the last to be declared a winner, defeating Ryan Walters in St. Michael Northwest in the most closely fought contest to confirm the third clean sweep. Motley addressed cheering supporters early in the morning.
We now know in Barbados more than ever the importance of strong political institutions. And let this Labour Party never take it for granted. But I also recognize that even as we have won tonight as convincingly, we do not turn our eyes away from the concerns of our constituents, constituency by constituency.
And yes, my Straight Talk family, that's what she reminded her colleagues, cabinet colleagues to be, about keeping their eyes on the concerns of their constituents in the constituencies. A subdued Democratic Labour Party leader, Ralph Thorne, could only concede that they fought the good fight and finished the course.
We fought the good fight, we finished the course, and we kept our faith. And we go forward, this party goes forward, that what we do is well done here.
Fought the good fight and kept the course. Meanwhile, the name Mia Amar Motley will be etched into the history books of Barbados. 3 consecutive clean sweeps. Believe that or not. 30 seats up for grab, and the Barbados Labour Party did in fact grab every one of those seats. We don't know if they will extend inclusion of the opposition by giving up 2 of those seats or 1 of those seats, perhaps 2 of the senatorial seats, 2 of the senatorial seats to the opposition. We will wait and see, my Straight Talk family. But we understand that come Monday, the cabinet will be appointed. Our second observation deals with the detention of 2 Venezuelan oil tankers. But this has nothing to do with the U.S. and the issues as it relates to smuggling of oil. This has to do with the Caribbean MOU, which is the enforcement body when it relates to improving. The MOU covers Caribbean island and coastal states and focuses on improving regional maritime safety and works to strengthen the maritime capacity in small states. And one was in fact detained just next door there in St. Eustatius, and the other in Curacao. But as the CMOU, the Caribbean Memorandum of Understanding on Port-State Control, aims to protect Caribbean waters from substandard vessels, especially given the region's heavy shipping traffic and environmental sustainability, those 2 vessels were detained for infractions in terms of their safety and the safety of lives at sea and other maritime requirements. Our third observation relates to the rising cost of food here in St. Kitts. Every day we go to the supermarket, go to the shops, it just seems as if they increase the cost of food. And I speak specifically to what I call poor people food, like breadfruit and mackerel that many of us long for each week here in St. Kitts and Nevis. But under this new Labour administration, things like saltfish and mackerel have become delicacies and are way beyond the reach of the poor man's budget. Many of us recall when Prime Minister Drew embarrassed himself all and all of us in Barbados with an absurd and silly comment about the cost of chicken and the cost of groceries. And when we spoke about groceries, you had $100 back then, you could have pulled your car, and they say now your baby can't even carry a bag with $100. But he has done nothing. He spoke so many times about the rising cost of food.
But the way the cost of living is, everything going up, and the government has not really have not really responded appropriately to deal with the high cost of living. People are paying too much for too many things, for basic things. And you see, Ike, that is why during the last election, before when the COVID hit, and the Prime Minister was asked, where's the food? He said the boats are coming. And we had developed a dependency on imported food and never really took the opportunity to really produce food here to ensure that we can manage our prices and to have a constant supply. If those boats had stopped come for any reason during the COVID-19, we would have been dealing with real severe shortages of food here. And that is why food security and agriculture and food production will also be a hallmark of our program that we will present to the people of St. Kitts and Nevis.
That he said 3 years ago, my Straight Talk family. But as we say, talk is cheap, but whiskey costs money. Because Terence Michael Drew has done absolutely nothing in his nearly 4 years in office to address the ever-increasing, the perpetual rise in the cost of food and generally the rising cost of living in St. Kitts and Nevis. And to make matters worse, I could not believe my eyes when I saw the cost of 2 little pieces of mackerel in the supermarket just yesterday. Would you believe, my Straight Talk family? Look at the prices here on your screens. Do you believe this, my people? Under Terence Michael July, mackerel, the poor man fish, has skyrocketed to $30 per pound. Heaven help the poor under this administration. Poor man fish, look at it, mackerel, $30 per pound. I would have never believed that this would happen. You remember how we came up with our mackerel and saltfish? We can't afford to buy that now under this administration. We have to do something about that. And going internationally, my Straight Talk family, we take a look at what I call the USA borrowing. Yes, you may wonder what it means to us. But we are living in a global village. And what affects the USA affects us. And believe it or not, the US federal debt has reached record levels, exceeding 37 trillion. My Straight Talk family. And that's roughly 120 to 123% of the size of the economy, the GDP, and higher than China's or the entire Eurozone's national output. We here in the region are struggling ourselves. We have gone up above just under 70% of GDP. But these debt levels matter because a high debt to GDP ratio, especially in these times and without recession, is something to be concerned about. Thankfully, the U.S. Treasury bonds are widely regarded as global, as some of the safest assets. So the U.S. can borrow at very low rates. Thankfully, they are not defaulting yet on their debt. But debates over the debt ceiling periodically in the U.S. raises fear of fears of technical default unless these lawmakers act. And that will affect us here in the Western Hemisphere, believe it or not. And that's why I raised this matter, so we can get abreast with what's happening on the global scene. And those are my observations for tonight, my Straight Talk family. And I move right into my thesis, which I have titled, as I said before, One Signature Away. One signature away from hundreds of millions from Project Destiny. And my fellow citizens and residents, we all live in a world that is filled with complexity. We live in a world that is filled with uncertainty and unpredictability. And today we are forced to confront a particular moment that demands courage, clarity, and conviction. We were told by the Premier of Nevis that the establishment of a special sustainability zone must be seen as a new and proactive approach to public-private sector partnership for development. And PPPs, or 3Ps, as Canadians call it, is nothing new. But it is important to note that the real ethos of 3Ps, public-private partnerships, is not simply about financing projects. At its core, it is about shared responsibility for public good. And my Straight Talk family, we were also told that the build-out of activities within the zone will be a game changer for Nevis. We were told this, my Straight Talk family, that it would be a game changer for Nevis. And earlier, I deliberately used the Greek word ethos to emphasize the meaning of character or moral nature. In simple terms, ethos is the guiding spirit, values, and credibility behind a person, an institution, or an idea. The public in public-private partnerships is not decorative. What it says is the government enters a partnership to serve its citizens and not to serve the investors. The private sector seeks profit, and that's natural, but the state must safeguard national assets, public welfare, long-term sustainability, transparency, and accountability. Because if profit overrides public benefit, it stops being a partnership and it becomes privatization disguised as development. And in a genuine PPP, risk is allocated to the party best able to manage that risk. The public sector protects policy and social stability. So a public-private partnership is not about dumping risk. And the NIA, from what the Premier explained with this Destiny project, the NIA is shouldering the risk while the developer secure guaranteed returns, my Stray Dog family. The developer secure guaranteed returns. And that violates the spirit of the 3P approach. Remember I mentioned that he said this was going to be a game changer.
The establishment of the Special Sustainability Zone, the first of its kind within the Eastern Caribbean, must be seen as a new and proactive approach to public-private sector partnership for development. The build-out of activities within this zone will be a game changer for Nevis, not only elevating our prominence within the region, but also generating significant economic activity across various sectors during both the construction and operational phases. The proposed Destiny development, which is expected to occupy just over 2,000 acres of land, is akin to a high-end ultra-luxury villa and resort development. This development will position Nevis as a destination for high-end investment, surpassing any scale of development that we have seen in our sub-region. Once we have completed the final negotiations, we'll be in a better position to advise all residents of both St. Kitts and Nevis. The final agreement will be brought to this assembly, for ratification, and will be made public as part of the legislative process.
And, my Straight Talk family, for example, Mark Brantley spoke of just a $75 million liability exposure for the investor, whereas the government liability may run into billions of dollars. The developer's liability may only run into a maximum of $75 million.
The only onus on the government side is not to repeal. So they're saying, listen, in terms of risk profile, the risk to them is exponentially greater than the risk to the government, because the government is not being asked to spend or invest any money. So if this thing were to move forward, the only obligation on the part of the government is not to repeal the legislation. Now, if they were to walk away, so let us say they come in and after a year or two, they decide that this isn't going well and we want to walk away, then the current provision that is there, which I should add is a matter that we are still negotiating, is that they have a $75 million penalty. Now, let me be clear that there are penalties built in at every step of the way. So if they don't meet a deadline for their roads, I'm just drawing a reference, if they don't meet a deadline for their water treatment, then their penalty is built in. But if they were to decide tomorrow, you know what, let's just walk away entirely, then we built in a penalty thus far, which is, let me emphasize, still under discussion, of $75 million secured by land. So put differently, if it is they were to walk away and they don't pay, then the government will take the land up to that value of $75 million US.
My Straight Talk family, if the government repeals after development, then the costs may be exponentially greater. And these are the words of Mark Brantley. Whereas he's dumping the risk on the government, the only risk is $75 million, he just said, to the investor. Hear this.
If we were to repeal it 2 months after this agreement were passed into law and the zone came into effect, they may not have spent very much in terms of capex, right? Capital expenditure. They may not have spent very much in terms of anything else. And so we're really only talking about the cost of the land at that point. If, however, we repeal it, when, of course, you have a fully developed, then clearly you can see that the cost would be exponentially greater, because everybody has to understand what it is we're doing, what the implications may be going forward.
So my Straight Talk family, what Brantley has done in a nutshell is he has negotiated to dump the risk on the government. And that's a red flag. And that's signaling a distorted public-private partnership. Contrary to the ethos of PPPs, 3Ps, public-private partnerships exist to align private efficiency with public accountability to deliver sustainable national development. And we are told that Nevis stands on the brink of transformation. One signature stands between hundreds of millions in profit and Project Destiny. But when a nation's future is reduced to a single signature, one signature, when decisions of such magnitude appear to move behind closed doors or on luxury yachts, it is not the excitement you should feel, it is the vigilance. Because democracy does not thrive in the shadows. Democracy thrives in transparency, accountability, and the unwavering defense of the public interest. Over the past 6 months, serious questions continue to be asked. Serious questions have been raised about the proposed Destiny project within a sustainable economic zone in Nevis. And we cannot stop talking about it. Because according to reports, this foreign developer linked to cryptocurrency interests was involved in drafting the influencing the legislation, my Straight Talk family. And I have to repeat that, which was reported in the Financial Times just Friday gone. And we provided you that evidence. And that alone should give us pause. Because laws must be written for the people and not for private investors. Some argue that the Premier has worked tirelessly to push this project forward. And hard work is admirable. But hard work without transparency is not leadership. It is pressure. And when the stakes involve billions of dollars, citizenship by investment, land assets, and international crypto investors, the people deserve more than enthusiasm. The people deserve answers. When asked in July 2025 about the project, Mark Brantley said that he was unaware. He did not know. But 1 month after, on the 11th of August, Mark Brantley seconded the passage of that legislation, my Straight Talk family. He seconded the passage of this act in the Parliament. Believe it or not, he did. He did second this act in the Parliament.
I recognize the Honourable Member for St. Christopher 8.
Madam Speaker, with your leave, I rise once again to report that the bill shortly entitled Special Sustainability Zones Authorization Bill 2025 has passed through committee stage with amendments. And I further move that the bill shortly entitled Special Sustainability Zones Authorization Bill 2025 be read a third time and pass into law. May it please you, Madam Speaker.
I recognize the honourable member for Nevis 9.
I second the motion. Thank you.
The question is that the bill shortly entitled Special Sustainability Zones Authorization Bill 2025 be read a third time and passed into law. Those in favour? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
And yes, my Stray Dog family, later that same August, after seconding the bill, on the 20th of August to be exact, Mark Brantley suddenly confirmed in a public address that he received a proposal. However, back in February 2025, Mark Brantley deflected a question which revealed that his wife, Sharon Mama Brantley, had approached landowners in the Long Point to Butlers area with a view to purchasing large tracts of land on behalf of an investor. And this is a question was posed to Brantley.
We've been hearing a lot about 17 degrees north. What is the connection between 17 degrees north and the Nevis Island administration? Is it true that representative of 17 degrees north has been approaching landowners and residents in the area of Long Point to Butlers, trying to negotiate the sale of lands there? If yes, what is the reason?
17 degrees north. I have to smile because 17 degrees north is my wife's business. It's owned by Sharon M. Brantley. It is my wife's business, and she's entitled to have a business just as you are, and just as anybody else in this island is entitled to have a business. As I understand it, 17 degrees north is into real estate, buying and selling of real estate. I'm aware that there are investors who are looking at significant investments on the island. I'm aware that various investors are looking at investing on the island of Nevis. 17 degrees north has zero connection to the government. 17 degrees north is not involved with any government land. If I offer myself for elective office, I must say to my wife, who's had a business prior to me getting involved in politics, I'm sorry, darling, but you have to shut it down.
And most people in Nevis never believe Mark Brantley. And many did not hide to express their lack of trust, not only in Mark Brantley, but in the Brantleys, my Stray Dog family. Many did not hide to expose that dislike.
I'm extremely upset about this. This is my question, but who exactly is Mrs. Brantley working for? Sorry? Yeah. Who exactly is the Premier's wife working for? I understand at some meeting or the other, the Premier said, leave my wife's name out of this. So if Mrs. Brantley could approach a friend of mine to ask my friend to sell his land, and when he said no, he was still pursued. Who exactly is she working for? I am very, very disturbed that this thing has been in the works for some 5 to 6 years. I'm extremely disturbed about it. And how come I just hearing about it this year? You know? Premier Brantley asked me a question in a very public space at the rededication service of the Methodist Church. Reverend Byron, am I still your friend? And my answer in this public space is Jesus commands us to love everybody. So I love everybody. It doesn't mean I like everybody. When somebody is not upfront with me, it is very, very disturbing to me. And I cannot trust them.
Cannot trust the Brantleys. And democracy depends on trust. So what kind of democracy can there be in Nevis under Mark Brantley? Sharon Mama Brantley is the only realtor engaged on the Destiny project. She has an exclusive deal. We can call it that. For that reason, when Kenneth Ryjock writes that Mark Brantley is the new powerhouse of the Caribbean, it is baffling to those of us who know Mark Brantley. He got so excited. He posted this and reposted this all over his Facebook page and forwarded it to so many people. Imagine this. Mark Brantley, the new powerhouse of the Caribbean. Imagine he's saying that Mark Brantley is the only one to break from the mold of corruption and fraud surrounding the CBI. Break from which mold? My Shritock family, we may ask. Because Ryjock must be unaware that Sharon Mark Brantley is a wife of Mark Anthony Graham Brantley, the Premier, who for almost 5 years acted and is still acting, according to Brantley himself, as the go-between landowners and the Olivier Janssens developer. If that is not corruption, then what is? When citizens believe that decisions are being shaped by family interests rather than the national interests, faith in institutions collapses. If the spouse of a political leader is acting as a sole realtor or intermediary between a private developer and landowners, while that same leader has final authority to approve the project, that represents a glaring and unacceptable conflict of interest. Just the appearance of impropriety alone undermines public confidence in the NIA. This situation concentrates power, influence, and potential financial gain within the Brantley's household. When public decision makers intersects with private financial benefit, it erodes transparency and raises serious ethical red flags. The public office of Premier has become a pipeline for personal enrichment. Mark Brantley, as leader of the NIA, cannot be expected to impartially approve or reject the Destiny project when his own household stands to benefit financially from its success. That is not good governance. That is compromised governance. Mark Brantley's household stands to benefit financially from the success of the Destiny project. Brantley is so compromised, my Shritock family, and was pressured by the developer, Olivier Janssens, to finalize negotiations for the project before the new year. And lo and behold, it did not go into the new year. It did not. Because we learned that Premier Brantley obliged, then belatedly, my Shritock family, he told the Federation that the NIA approval of this project was sent to the Prime Minister on the 23rd of December 2022. 25. And that is before the new year, isn't it?
Destiny proposal, I can report that the Nevis Island administration, after exhaustive town halls and stakeholder engagements and feedback and exhaustive engagement with the proposers for Destiny, that we would have sent our approval for this particular project to the attention of the Prime Minister on the 23rd of December 2025. That's the date that I'm advised it was sent. The proposal has gone through, the agreement has gone through various iterations. The agreement, of course, is not yet signed, but we have signaled to the Prime Minister that we are comfortable with what has been proposed, and that was done on the 23rd of December. As we know the process, it now shifts to Bastille for them to look at it, but we are expecting that that will be dealt with in short order, largely because this is a Nevis project. This is not a federal project, it is not a Sinkits-based project, it's a Nevis project. And the Nevis Island Administration has determined that this project will advance the development of the island of Nevis. And we stand behind the project because we think it's a good project for Nevis.
And my Straight Talk family, the Prime Minister, no doubt, given the negative pushback from so many NGOs and the general public, sought to review the Special Sustainable Zone Authorization Act. He sought to review the legislation, and as I said to you before, he set up an ad hoc committee. And based on the comments of the Prime Minister, Terence Michael Drew, the committee has looked at the SSZ and has proposed a strengthening of this legislation. Mark Brantley is not happy with Terence Michael Drew, who signaled that he will go back to Parliament in order to amend, or in his words, strengthen the law. Mark Brantley is unhappy with that position and has made insular remarks about St. Kitts and Nevis. And this is the same playback, same playbook used before, except back then it was about fair share, my Straight Talk family. But the same playbook, my Straight Talk family. When the Premier was part of the Team Unity administration that eventually imploded because of greed, and I'm no fan of the Prime Minister, but it is the same playbook being used to attack Prime Minister Drew. It is clear to all and sundry that Mark Brantley has to out somebody's light for his light to shine, and he will try to make his voice sound as loud as thunder if he cannot get what he wants. Since the Wijak blog, Mark Brantley is riding on a high horse and has shared the many, and that shared the article, beg your pardon, multiple times. Many have, however, called me in total disagreement with his content, my Straight Talk family, in total disagreement with his content. And my Straight Talk family, I must say that Mark Brantley has bankrupt. He has killed the Nevis economy. His people cannot find jobs, and he is heavily indebted, my Straight Talk family, to the federal government. Yes, he is, my Straight Talk family. And I share that with you on many occasions. So my Straight Talk family, the Destiny Project would have transformed Nevis, yes. But in whose best interest? It would have been a game changer for whom? It was not. It was not, my Straight Talk family. It was not for the good prudence, if it was not rather for the good prudence of the CIU chairman, Calvin St. Just, who Straight Talk was reliably informed, did not support the project. And I hold no brief for St. Just, but I'm skeptical about the source of these blogs, my Straight Talk family. Very skeptical about the source of these blogs. And these blogs, Straight Talk has found no corroboration from reliable outlets and must therefore treat these claims about St. Just cautiously and critically and not accept them as established fact, because it is not 20,000 new residents or citizens. Hell no. The Belgian developer, my Straight Talk family, in consort with Mark Brantley's NIA, sought 10,000 shares at $250,000 US dollars, that is, to build out the Destiny project, inclusive, though not exhaustive, of their own water and energy supply, also roads, condos, and other buildings. Straight Talk is not defending the CIU chairman because we have concerns with his lack of transparency when it comes to all the approved PBO projects like the Basti High School, the Creative Arts Center, the RLB Airport expansion, and others that are all locked away from public scrutiny. After all, they are selling our passports. Only now we understand why CBI fees would be paid to the government of St. Kitts, and according to Mark, the government of Nevis, whether they want citizenship or not. After all, it is about money, millions and millions of dollars, cryptocurrency involved as well. What the Premier was planning, even Stevie Wonder, as blind as he is, saw it. One signature away, hundreds of millions if land is sold, for example, $100,000 per acre. Then 2.4 thousand acres at equals $240 million. At 5%, Sharon Mama Brantley gets $12,000. $12 million, what am I saying? But do not be surprised if 10% or 15% commission is paid for orchestrating the deal. Straight Talk understands that the CIU chairman did not recommend cabinet approval for 10,000 shares at $350,000 US dollars, because that would equal $3.5 billion or 9.5 billion EC dollars. So we ask the question, is it true that special concession was requested for the CIU board to sell shares at US $250,000 to raise the money to build out the infrastructure for the Destiny project? Was it anticipated that Daniel Brantley would provide any services? Because the service provider will be paid US $10,000 per share, and that would equal to US $100 million, 300 million EC dollars. All of these perhaps are the reasons for the attacks on the CIU chairman, because he failed to recommend approval for the Destiny project under the CBI program. But there is plenty more in the matter than in the pistol, to use a colloquial term. The issue may involve broader politics, institutional dynamics, St. Kitts versus Nevis rivalries, and not just one individual. Mark Brantley wants to be the emperor of St. Kitts and Nevis. Why is Mark Brantley and Olivier Janssens not responding to the Financial Times questions? My friends, people are watching and people are waiting. Many are saying that they have never seen the Premier Mark Brantley work so hard. But you know why? He is one signature away from hundreds of millions of dollars from the Destiny Project. And that's my story tonight, and I am not going to change it. But I'll open the lines and entertain your calls and your emails. And my Street Dog family, when I do so, I anticipate that you will respect others. And of course, to achieve that, you must first respect yourselves. Let us try to be fair to all concerned, and let us try to build goodwill and better friendships. And my Street Dog family, let us ensure that the things we say and or do will be beneficial to all concerned. And in the process of saying and or doing those things, let us strive to build a kinder, gentler St. Kitts and Nevis. I forgot to give you an update as well on the prisons, my Street Dog family. The prison project is going. It's heading going. I've seen the St. Kitts Masonry trucks delivering concrete up there. But as we open the lines, my Street Dog family, it's 9 minutes past the 9 o'clock hour. And we go to the lines and take our first call. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Good night, Mr. Liber.
Good night, my dear. I know I should expect this call. My quota. Is quota? What do I say? My quotationist. Am I correct? How is Nevis tonight?
Hello?
How is Nevis tonight?
Great. We want Mark Brantley out of here.
I want him out more than you. Let's work together on that. Okay.
That's right. There is no calamity greater than lavish desires.
Greater than lavish desires.
There is no greater guilt than discontentment.
Greater gift?
Guilt.
Oh, guilt. Okay. There is no greater guilt. Okay.
Than discontentment.
Okay.
And there is no greater disaster than greed.
No greater disaster than greed.
I repeat, there is no calamity greater than lavish desires. There is no greater guilt than discontentment. And there is no greater disaster than greed. Have a great evening.
Thank you very much, my dear, for your very thought-provoking quotations, as per usual. Always getting first. I've come to expect that now. There is no calamity greater than lavish desires. There is no greater guilt than discontentment, and no greater disaster than greed. Let's go back to the lines at 11 past 9. Caller, your line.
Yeah, good night, Patches. This is your boy straight out of Nevis, and I just want to send a word to Joe. Joe, Mark Brantley like mash up things there, and if you sign that there, you're gonna lose for sure. You know what I mean? I'm not so sure if you're gonna win either. But if you sign that, you is a Ghana. Bless up, Patches.
Bless up, my dear brother. Yes, you're so correct about Mark Brantley. Is a term I described him. I used to describe him earlier. If you were listening, my Street Dog family, because it's, as I said, is coming from the same playbook he used during the Team Unity era. You know, if he can't get it his way, he'll do anything to mash it up, as we say. But we know that it's all about money. It's all about money, my Street Dog family. And there are millions of dollars involved. Millions. And for some reason, he's hell-bent to move this forward. Now trying to separate Nevis from St. Kitts, say this is a Nevis project. And we know one signature. That one signature is that of Terence Michael Drew. And it stands between hundreds of millions of dollars and Project Destiny. But when the nation's future is reduced to a single signature, when decisions of such magnitude appear to move behind closed doors and on luxury yachts, my Straight Talk family, we must, my Straight Talk family, it is not excitement. What we should feel is vigilance. Caller, you're alive. Hello.
Yeah, Patches, good evening, man. How you doing tonight, man?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. So much to unpack, man. Straight at the Prime Minister. When he was campaigning, I know a lot of people referenced this. He was on the campaign trail when he talked about that one man that comes over sink it with the big mouth. He got one shot for him.
One shot for the sheriff, yes.
One shot for him. Let me tell the Prime Minister tonight. Let's see who is the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis now. Is it the one over on Nevis, or if it's the one on St. Kitts? Like the first caller said, Dr. Drew is a weak leader. If he sit there and let the Premier push him to go against the will of the people, definitely he's going to be a goner. There's no way I can see the people of St. Kitts and Nevis can re-elect both incumbent governments on both islands. We have a chance to make history to replace both of them at the same time. The people of St. Kitts and Nevis, man, we are too docile, bro. We're too docile, man. This stuff is only and could only happen in Nevis. And these corrupted, crooked leaders, well, let me take the leaders away from them. Politicians, because they're not really leaders as such.
Right.
They are just faking out the people. The people of St. Kitts and Nevis are too docile and naive. Man, it's so disappointing to sit out here and watch what's going on in St. Kitts and Nevis, in our small island state, where we don't have the vast amount of lands like everywhere else. And everyone is sitting there, and two people got St. Kitts and Nevis deadlocked, the Premier and the Prime Minister. No opposition across the narrowest patches. They can run away with the reckless spending and with all manner of evil. They don't have the character anymore. They don't have the character, man. And let me just go straight to this here real quick, patches, before I get off. Now, this is in relationship to don't lose your soul for money. And it's so coincidental, that this comes from Mark chapter 8, verse 36. And it's parallel, what they call that? It also has a parallel that's in Matthew 16:26, where Jesus asks, "For what shall it profit a man if he shall gain the whole world, and lose his own soul?" This verse warns against prioritizing worldly wealth over spiritual well-being. And I'm just going to say it again. It's very disappointing to see a federation of two islands, 50-something thousand people, is going to sit there and let two men transform their country for the worse. Patches, there was a guy who was involved with cryptocurrency. Guess what? 20 years he got in jail up here. He was sentenced to 20 years. And that cryptocurrency is where Mark is trying to take Nevis and St. Kitts. And the people them in St. Kitts, they have to stand up for people in Nevis, because it seems like these Nevis people is not standing up enough. And just like how this man sneaked Martinez into Nevis and then he slid on over to St. Kitts, this SSC law is going to affect the same. If they're pushing it from the Nevis side, and it's going to creep over to St. Kitts and affect St. Kitts citizens as well. And I'll leave it there. Thanks a lot, man.
Thank you for your contribution. And yes, two men, the Premier and the Prime Minister, seem to have held St. Kitts and Nevis for ransom. Because when we look at the situation, power is concentrated. And there's this influence and there's potential financial gain within the Brantley's household. And this public decision making intersects with private financial benefit. The public office of Premier Brantley seems like a pipeline for personal enrichment. Let's go to the lines. Caller, thank you for holding you alive. Hello, caller.
Thank you for allowing me. And I will say I will condone with my colleague that just spoke, Mr. Jones. But if I may add, this is a Nevis project. This is a Nevis project. But it need the federal government, Prime Minister Jew, to sign. You listen to that statement? We already approve. All the Prime Minister have to do is sign.
Imagine that.
I'm dissecting. Imagine that.
So
if it's a Nevis project, why does it need the federal government to sign? So that means it's a federal project? It is our project. But we said we don't need it. So why do you need the signature of the Prime Minister? Which is the final decision. Does that make sense? It is a Nevis project. That is the statement. So that means we have nothing to do with it, but you still need our signature. Hell no. This man, as my colleague quoted, what would it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his soul? And you want to take all of us with you? Why you ain't taking me with you, now my family, now my brothers and my friends? Take yourself to where you want to go and leave us alone. Mark, look back into yourself. You came from humble beginnings, I believe. You didn't born with a silver spoon in your mouth, or a gold, or a diamond, or a platinum. What is the quick fix of getting rich? A poor people we are. And you're separating yourself from us. You are not one of us. You're telling us you are not one of us and you need us. You need us to vote for you. You need us to put you back in. You need us to keep you as a leader. Well, you are a done deal. People of Nevis, my people of Nevis, please don't put this CCM government back in. Put in the NRP or the independents. Vote for Hazel Brandy. Vote for Banky. Vote for I will leave it there. I missed her name. Vote for Janice Daniel. Put in the NRP and all independents who are in the mix. Thank his people. Give Winston Welcome a chance. I will work for you. I will give you everything that you all need. I will give you dignity. My dignity is your dignity, and your dignity is mine. And we must restore our dignity. I will restore that. Thank you very much for allowing me.
Thank you for your intervention. We go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you're live. It's 9:23.
Good night to Dr. Ian Pattis Liebert. Good night.
You humble servant. Good night, sir.
Yes. First, I always want to give God thanks for life. And give God thanks for a blessed federation, St. Kitts Nevis. We could be more better. And we could do better. Along when the bell ring, the people they make the choice where they're supposed to make. Because Patches, he got some guys we elect in government, both in St. Kitts and in Nevis, and they're really deceiving the people. Really deceiving the people, Patches. He ain't looking good, and a fish thing from my head, and I smell it. I smell it. I smell it. Patches, I call in, and the People's Action Movement and the PLP and the NRP to get vigilant and get serious with what's going on with these two. These men who say that we elect in government. I don't think that they're pleasing the people of this country. They're just about themselves as far as they're concerned. Just going the house passing bills, talking. Nothing is happening. Look, all these projects are going to open. Up to now, the Basque High School can't build. Up to now, the hospital can't come. Up to now, the hospital up there, up to Tuesday I was up there. And you know what guy tell me? Why, when you hospital, look the amount of land, look here. They got to go up. But if the doctor just want to make himself look good, but he don't build your hospital. He just want to make himself look good. And he's sending the country backward. Everything smart. Smart hospital, smart this, smart jail, smart prison, smart this, smart that. Everything is smart. And they calling the people, this smart, he got smart and he got old smart. He got too smart and he got old smart. So people of this country are to stop, look and listen and see our country heading under the two administrations. NRP in Nevis, system in Nevis, and the Labour administration in government. They're providing for the people. Look at the agriculture. Look at the agriculture parties. Look at agriculture. Nothing is happening. Farmers balling. When you go to the supermarket again, the price is sky, and nobody doing nothing about it. People complaining, talking, and nothing doing about it. Parties ever get back. You have a wonderful night and continue to do the good work for the people of this country. And as I tell people, listen to you and call in you. Because only we can prevent these things from happening when election time coming up.
Okay.
All right then.
Thank you very much, my dear brother Politics. I go back to the lines at 9:25. Caller, you're live. Hello, caller.
Greetings, Mr. Patches. How are you?
I am peaceful, my brother. Yourself?
I'm very good myself, listening to your continued straight talk.
Thank you.
Very important program, and it's good you staying on the topic of the SSG.
Yeah, you can't forget it.
I mean, you see, this kind of debate is good for us as citizens, because party politics is about country. So the debate is very timely. The lady with the quotations, she always on the nail head with her points. And that's very good for our citizens. Whenever conflict arises between material and spiritual values, the conscience plays an important role. And anyone who suffers from a guilty conscience is never free from this problem until he make peace with his conscience. That's the stage we are in today, Mr. Patches. We have to make peace with our conscience. you said earlier the question that Mr. Brantley was asked concerning on the 5th of July, somewhere around there. And then shortly after, you hear announcement. You see, for many all these, Mr. Patches, when questions were asked to Mr. Brantley, and he was more forthcoming, and had on the premier hat on his head, even though he wear many hats, because he wearing the opposition hat, he wearing the husband hat, and he wearing the premier hat. He would have been more straightforward to the Federation. The lady from 17 Degrees, she also asked Mark a straightforward question. And he got to lament on all kind of issues before he make a comfortable answer to let the public be educated. He said he's going to be a game changer. I mean, he can't be a game changer for the people when the people are not getting no information. You know, so he's the one who probably seen one or two things, but he is not on behalf of the people. Because remember, Mr. Evelyn, Honorable Mr. Evelyn,
so
he said he do not know where the people coming from.
Yep.
And this is when information, so to speak, don't start to raise concern in the project. So how a minister of the government, and even though lately you hear him say he support the project, he didn't come back and tell the people, well, he aware now that where the people is coming from, so I support the project. No, it is nothing like that. The other day, when Mr. Brantley was expressing himself, he talked about Christopher Harbour. And I, as a citizen, asked him myself, why he make the reference about Christopher Harbour? Because when we hear any information pertaining Christopher Harbour, it's a headache to the country. So, if you know a project like Christopher Harbour is a headache to the Federation, why make an example towards that? That is the thing until today still have me troubled. And I'm glad to hear you say some words pertaining and put on screen the prison project. Because, oh yeah, the citizen, Mr. Patches, I feel we need a new prison. The country needs a new prison. Any sensible person would say, we need a new prison. Is to reform our people. Is to get how we feel to know we got 10 and 15 men in one cell. That can't be comfortable as we, as a Christian society, we say we are with moral standing. No, them things can't be right until today. So a new prison is very vital to the country. I don't know why the heavy criticism does be about it. If you want to have a commission inquiry after the prison bill, that's a different stage. But at least we need a prison. Mr. Patches, you continue to be strong, stay healthy. God bless. Take care. Jalov.
Thank you, my brother. Jalov. And we do say prison, but in fact, what is being constructed is a correctional facility, because you need an environment where people who haven't done whatever crime and in prison, they must be rehabilitated. So we avoid what that thing is called recidivism. So they don't have people going back. It should come out a new man or woman, so to speak. But let's go back to the lines and thank this caller for holding. Caller, you live. Are you there, caller?
Yeah, Patches, let me get back in for a quick minute, man. Patches, you see that gentleman that just got off? I'm going to acknowledge him tonight. Very thought-provoking But I'm going to really give the respect and acknowledge him. That prison project, right? He has a rehabilitation center that's going to be attached to it, right?
But it is really a rehabilitated center, a correctional facility. So,
yes, that's correct.
Yes.
So that's definitely needed because it's too much young man that's caught up in the cycle of just going in and out of prison. They need to be rehabilitated and reintroduced back into the society.
True.
And he mentioned that Christoph Harbour comments from Mark. And if my memory serves me right, Mark was he was in government, or he's in politics at least throughout all of those periods. Wasn't he? It's starting to become one common factor throughout the years now, the Premier on the Nevis side. You know what I mean? And let me ask you a quick question. With that Destiny project, right? Which government is going to hold the liability, the default liability? The federal government or the NIA government?
Well, it's a federal law, and so only the federal parliament can repeal it. So,
No, I'm talking about the default liability. If the government side defaults, which government is going to hold that liability?
The government side can't default. I mean, the developer can default if they don't deliver. The government side can repeal. And if they repeal the law, then I'm saying to you that only the federal government can repeal the law because it is a federal law. So it has to be repealed in the federal parliament.
Okay, we got that.
So if the federal... I'm answering you. Sorry to interrupt you. So if the federal parliament repeals it, then the federal parliament has to accept whatever results from repealing the law, not the NIA.
So therefore, right, Patches, you see, Patches, right there is where the Sinkers people got to pay attention.
You're right.
Because the NIA is already subjected to loans from the federal government. And so then therefore, any slip up with this Destiny project on Nevis is going to affect the citizens on St. Kitts.
Yes, you're correct.
This is where I'm appealing to the St. Kitts people to start paying attention. And just as you said also, right, I don't know if I'm going to have this part right, but Patches, what you just explained, somewhere along the line, right, the Prime Minister and the Premier was appealing to the people to separate the law from the Destiny project. But how could you do that, right? And still don't give a subsequent government the right to appeal the law?
Repeat it.
You see what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Because throughout all of the narrative, the Prime Minister and the Premier, I'm pointing to two of those. They tried to indicate to the people, right, not to get confused and put the SSC law and the Destiny project together. They was asking to separate them.
How can you separate them? The Destiny project is establishing a sustainable economic zone. And
so that's what I'm
based on the law.
That's what I'm asking you. That's what I'm pointing to as well. How can you separate them?
No, but Drew is confused, and I didn't respond. I expect nothing better from Drew. Drew is confused because they went to the parliament.
Like I said, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
They went to the parliament. They passed the legislation to establish these zones. You remember, Mark Branty was even trying to get a minimum amount of acreage of 500 upwards, and they changed that. But it's under the project is being approved under the legislation. That's what created the problem. So you can't separate Destiny from the SSC. I don't think Drew know what he's saying.
This is what I'm technically pointing to it, but I don't really know if I got it all the way correct, right? But I believe you understand what I'm pointing at because if the project and the law is married, right? How can you separate them? So the second part where I'm coming at you with is, if they're married, right, would you be able to repeal? Or if they're separated, you can repeal. You get what I'm pointing
The
at?
law is the law. There's only one law. There's only the special Sustainability Zone Authorization Act is the legislation. And you can repeal that act. That's the only thing you can repeal. And I think what Mark is doing with his is pretending to be smart. In Honduras, they repealed, the new administration came in and repealed the legislation that was passed by the right-wing government that lost. And these people took them to court.
Yes.
Mark is trying to indemnify these people, to protect them. If they've spent money, and let's say the government changes tomorrow and repeals the act, then these people will get this lot of money. And he based 3 times the amount of what they spent. He said it. But their only liability is the $75 million if they default. So Mark is putting this burden on the federal government, on St. Kitts and Nevis. That's why he can't say Kitts and stay out of it.
Yeah. So what I'm driving
So they're saying the same thing.
Is yes, we're saying the same thing. Yes,
Right.
and I'm happy that you are, because you understand where I'm going with it.
Yes.
Because at somewhere along the line, if they was asking to separate the law from the project, right? Obviously, a subsequent government will have the option to repeal. So where is Mark Brantley coming back again and saying that, well, you can't repeal, otherwise you're gonna face these stiff penalties. And who knows, man? We never know what's going on behind the scenes. Suppose this man is a part of all this mess, bro. Suppose he's a part of all this mess.
Suppose.
And then take the country for a ride. I'll leave it there, Patches, man. People think. And you just gotta listen to these guys when they talk, man. But the law and the project in Nevis can't be married together, or either if it's married or separated, a subsequent government has to be given the option to repeal, because that's what the people are fighting for right now. Thanks a lot, Patches, man. Have a good night. And last week, Patches, before I get off, that gentleman that I mentioned earlier, who was involved with cryptocurrency, he has a St. Kitts Nevis passport. Thanks a lot, Patches. Have a good night.
Have a good night as well. My Straight Talk family, what Mark Brantley is doing, as I said earlier, he's dumping the risk onto the government. Because what he has done, he did say it's a public-private partnership. Remember, he said that, right? But then he gets up and he says this. My Straight Talk family, listen to this.
Only onus on the government side is not to repeal. So they're saying, listen, in terms of risk profile, the risk to them is exponentially greater than the risk to the government, because the government is not being asked to spend or invest any money. So if this thing were to move forward, the only obligation on the part of the government is not to repeal the legislation. Now, if they were to walk away, so let us say they come in and after a year or two, they decide that this isn't going well and we want to walk away, then the current provision that is there, which I should add is a matter that we are still negotiating, is that they have a $75 million penalty. Now, let me be clear that there are penalties built in at every step of the way. So if they don't meet a deadline for their roads, I'm just drawing a reference. If they don't meet a deadline for their water treatment, then their penalty is built in. But if they were to decide tomorrow, you know what, let's just walk away entirely, then we built in a penalty thus far, which is, let me emphasize, still under discussion, of $75 million secured by land. So put differently, if it is they were to walk away and they don't pay, then the government will take the land up to that value of 75 million US dollars.
Which government? will take the land. And he's talking about the NIA. But the question you're asking is as it relates to repealing the act. And he said this.
If we were to repeal it 2 months after this agreement were passed into law and the zone came into effect, they may not have spent very much in terms of capex, right? Capital expenditure. They may not have spent very much in terms of anything else. And so we're really only talking about the cost of the land at that point. If, however, we repeal it, when, of course, you have a fully developed, then clearly you can see that the cost would be exponentially greater, because everybody has to understand what it is we're doing, what the implications may be going forward.
So Mark, my straight dog family, is just protecting his partner. He talk about public-private partnership. It's the Brantleys and the Johnsons partnership. And Mark is unhappy. Brantley is unhappy with the position taken by Prime Minister Joe. And he's the same playbook he used against the former or third Prime Minister. Except back then he was talking about fair share. Because when the Premier was part of the team unity administration that eventually imploded because of greed. And I'm no fan of Prime Minister Joe. I say that up front. But it is the same playbook being used to attack Prime Minister Joe. And it is clear, it must be clear to all of us, to all and sundry, that Mark Brantley, his modus operandi is that he has to out somebody's light for his light to shine. And he will try to make his voice sound as loud as thunder if he cannot get what he wants. But I spoke to you about this powerhouse, this article by Rajak. And my straight talk family, Rajak overlooked the fact, or he's unaware. He's unaware that after all, destiny is about money. And he must not be surprised. He cannot be surprised. Because years upon years, Sharon Mama Brantley was the realtor for Olivier Janssens. And according to Mark, she was the go-between. The go-between he used, the words he used, go-between Janssens and the landowners. Remember I played this soundbite for you earlier, my straight dog family, when he was asked about 17 degrees. Seems to have lost that soundbite. He was asked about 17 degrees. Yes, he was asked this, my straight dog family, about 17 degrees. Straightforward question. My straightforward question, and this was his answer.
We've been hearing a lot about 17 degrees north. What is the connection between 17 degrees north and the Nevis Island administration? Is it true that representative of 17 degrees north has been approaching landowners and residents in the area of Long Point to Butlers, trying to negotiate the sale of lands there? If yes, what is the reason?
17 degrees north. I have to smile because 17 degrees north is my wife's business. It's owned by Sharon M. Brantley. It is my wife's business, and she's entitled to have a business just as you are, and just as anybody else in this island is entitled to have a business. As I understand it, 17 degrees north is into real estate, buying and selling of real estate. I'm aware that there are investors who are looking at significant investments on the island. I'm aware that various investors are looking at investing on the island of Nevis. 17 Degrees North has zero connection to the government. 17 Degrees North is not involved with any government land. If I offer myself for elective office, I must say to my wife, who's had a business prior to me getting involved in politics, I'm sorry, darling, but you have to shut it down.
My Shretok family, I'm sorry, caller. I had you holding. I overlooked you. You're alive.
I am humble and patient, Patches. You're doing the right thing. Now, there is someone made a quote. When we create a storm and we get caught up into it, we blame others. Now, who created the storm over St. Kitts and Nevis? That is a question for all ears to answer. I know my answer. Now, when the storm get out of control, we dodge. We say we have nothing to do with it. But we put in the blame on others. Now, listen what this man, he could act as a jackal and a snake. Because he looked like a snake. Everybody know who we're talking about. I'm not calling a name because I'm not going to be sued. Now, when this man creates all these storms, it's all for money. And this is a conflict of interest. Since when our government officials, our leaders, who soar to do the due diligence to the public, represent the people, and turn around making extras here and there, biting here and there. That's a big conflict of interest. And that is wrong. And that is condemned. And this is like selling out the people for his gain. I already said, I don't know if I could carry the name a tailor, but I am willing to adjust the man's pocket. I could do that by shortening it, because there should be a robust investigation into these officials pertaining to conflict of interest. They are not focused on the due diligence that they are elected to do and they sought to do. They make a U-turn all about themselves, self-aggrandization, and they are the NIST. This got to stop. The people have the choice to put mandates on the ballot and determine how our new government will move forward. Patches, I'm going to leave it right there. I will listen to others. Thank you.
Thank you very much. My quotation for tonight: there is no calamity greater than lavish desires. There is no greater guilt than discontentment, and no greater disaster than greed. And I made reference to this article about Brantley, the new powerhouse of the Caribbean. And it spoke to corruption and fraud. And I posit the view that Rajak, who was on my program, and we entertained him, and obviously he had to be unaware. I give him the benefit of that doubt, that Sharon Mama Brantley is a wife of Mark Anthony Graham Brantley, who is the premier. But Sharon Mama Brantley, for almost 5 years, we found out, acted and is still acting as the go-between the words of her husband, Mark Anthony Graham Brantley, the go-between the landowners and the developer, Olivier Janssen. And if that is not corruption, what is? Because when citizens believe that decisions are being shaped by family interests rather than the national interests, faith in institution collapses, breaks down. And if the spouse, the wife of a political leader, is acting as a sole realtor or intermediary between a private developer and landowners, while the same leader has final authority to approve the project, that represents a glaring and unacceptable conflict of interest. Just the appearance of impropriety alone undermines public confidence in the government. And this situation concentrates power, influence, and potential financial gain within the Brantley's household. He cannot deny that. Because when public decision-making interests with private financial benefit, it erodes. When public decision-making rather intersects with private financial benefit, it erodes transparency and raises serious ethical red flags. And I submit that the public office of Premier Mark Anthony Graham Brantley is a pipeline, it seems, for personal enrichment. Caller, you're live. Thank you for holding.
Good night, Mr. Patrick.
Good night, sir. And how art thou? Sounds like the Bible man.
I'm fine and wonderful.
You just woke up.
I am going to give you Psalm 34 tonight.
Psalm 34.
Yeah. Listen here.
That one beat me. Uh-huh.
I will bless the Lord all times. I will bless the Lord all times.
Mm-hmm.
His praise shall continue in my mouth.
Yes.
My soul shall make a boast of the Lord. The humble shall hear it and be glad. Oh, magnify the Lord with me. Let us exalt his name together. I sought the Lord, and he heard me, and delivered me from my fears. You hear that, Mr. Patel?
Yes, yes.
They look upon him, and were lightning, and their face was not ashamed. Here is here now, Patel. This poor man cried, and the Lord heard him and saved him out of all his troubles. The angel of the Lord comfort around him, comfort around them. The angel of the Lord comfort around them. That and fear him and deliver him out of all and deliver him. Deliver them out of all.
Okay.
Wait, but it here. The angel of the Lord comfort around them. That deliver from their fears. Yeah, deliver them. Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good.
Mercies.
Bless Blessed is he, blessed is the man that trusts in him. Oh, fear the Lord, ye saints, but there is no one to them that fear him. The young lion does not and suffer hunger, but they that seek the Lord shall want any good thing. Come ye children, hearken unto me, and I will teach you the fear of the Lord. Now, just to top it all off, Mr. Patrick, here we word of God saying, keep thy tongue from evil, and thy own lips speaking guile.
Okay,
depart from evil.
Okay.
And do good. Depart from evil and do good and see pursued.
Okay.
The eyes of the Lord are upon the righteous, and his ears are open unto their cry. Mr. Patrick,
thank you.
I'll read those passage scripture to let you know. No, in Psalm 34, and the last word.
Okay. Rap for me, rap for me, Bible man. Rap for me, I'm out of time.
Only had a system of the righteous.
Yeah.
But the Lord shall deliver them out of them all.
Amen. Amen.
The reason why we don't think the righteous cry, and the Lord heard him, and he delivered when, and he's telling you, when the righteous feel the pain, all what happened today, God hear them.
Okay.
And so you must feel his squeeze. He'll come back to haunt you.
Okay.
You must come back to haunt you, Patrick.
Okay.
You must. Okay. God, you're dealing with Mr. Patrick. He must come back to haunt you when God give you a kingdom. Do right.
Okay, my
in
brother.
the sight of God, do right, Patrick.
Okay.
And when you do right, everything gonna be fine. See you, Mr. Patrick. Thank you.
Thank you for your spiritual intervention. They don't hear okay, but thanks a lot, Mr. Bibleman. Mrs. Byron reads this email. I regret that I have to respond to you or your posts via Straight Talk, wonder why, and not directly on your comments. The post I'm referring to is where you ask a rhetorical question. Do you know that it's Destiny who wrote the project governing the Destiny project? Well, Mrs. Byron, any dumbfounded fool can easily. There's something missing here, that the laws and the crafting of the project was far beyond the scope of these self-proclaimed bright, expertly idiots. I was privy to an article published in one of the leading British newspapers where it was clearly articulated that it was the proprietors of the Destiny project that drafted the Destiny bill that was passed in our National Assembly. We knew that before, Miss Byron, despite their lies and deception. I want to remind us all that when the monstrous regular caller asked the Attorney General on Freedom Issue Program who was responsible for drafting the Destiny bill, was it your office or was it the investors? And the AG had the temerity to say it was his office. Lies. The British newspaper has now exposed the Attorney General as a compulsive liar. Is this a good governance you're relentlessly talking about? Shame on you, reads this email. And as we wind down tonight's programming, it's a few minutes past the 10 o'clock hour. I have a caller holding. Sorry, caller. You're live. Hello, caller?
Patrick.
So
I just hope the Nevis people are listening to Mark Brantley with the ring around with this project. I want to tell them if he gets you with that project, he might find the next zone in Nevis again. And the grandchildren and the children and whosoever to come ain't gonna got no land. No future generation gonna come, the future generation ain't gonna got no land. Just look how he was one on the opposition bench down here when the former prime minister poof our land away in National Bank, you know. He was one on the opposition bench fighting for save our land. And now they want to give Nevis land to foreigners coming, the so-called investors. Remember, think it down here, we down here land problem. From since 1995, when the sugar industry closed, and the administration of Douglas, when he get in 1995, and he closed the sugar industry in 2005. Patches, you see where our land them went. You see where our land them went. Our land them tie up in all kind of different things. That's why we can't get a good agriculture program, a good land program in this country about agriculture. We don't tie up. People, I tell us, stop, look and listen. Stop, look and listen. Watch these men. These men is just about them and the foreign investors that they bring in just to get a tip under the table. They can't talk about nobody. They can't talk about themselves. And I see it for myself. Okay, then, Patrick, have a wonderful night again and get home safe.
Thanks a lot. Have a wonderful night as well. And somebody asked me earlier, I glanced it about the Frigate Bay lands, some comments about the lands. I scanned something briefly about buying Frigate Bay lands for the Gulf Coast, if that's what I read. I'm not going to comment on it until I can absorb it, but I'm not aware that the Gulf Coast was owned by the Marriott. I know there was a 20-year lease, if my memory serves me well. But I'll address that on our next program. For someone who asked, trying to find the message, I haven't seen it. But my Straight Talk family, it's 5 past 10 o'clock hour, and as we wrap, and for those who join me belatedly, my thesis I addressed tonight, which I've titled "One Signature Away, Hundreds of Millions from Destiny Project." And I made the point that when the Premier was part of the Team Unity administration that eventually imploded because of greed, and I'll hasten to add one more time, I am not a fan of the Prime Minister, but it's the same playbook being used to attack Prime Minister Drew. It must be clear to all of us, to all and sundry, that Mark Brantley's modus operandi is that he has to out somebody's light for his light to shine. And he will try to make his voice sound as loud as thunder if he cannot get what he wants. And someone told me today he wants to be the emperor of St. Kitts and Nevis because he won't be the prime minister ever. But since the Rijak blog, Mark Brantley is riding on a high horse and has shared the article about the powerful or powerhouse of the Caribbean. He has shared it multiple times. But many do not agree because Mark Brantley has bankrupt. He has killed the economy of Nevis. He's heavily indebted to the federal government. It has guaranteed almost $600 million. The Destiny Project would have transformed Nevis, yes, but in whose interest? It would have been a game changer for whom? If it was not for the good prudence of the CIU chairman, St. Just, who, straight talk, was reliably informed, did not support the project. But my straight talk family, there were some articles attacking St. Just that made me skeptical about the source of these blogs, because we have not found any corroboration from reliable outlets. So we must therefore treat these claims cautiously and critically, and not to accept them as established fact. But I must say that it's not 20,000 new residents or citizens. Hello. The Belgian developer, in consort with Mark Brantley and his NIA, sought 10,000 shares. The price was 5,500. He wants double. 10,000 shares at $250,000 to build out the Destiny Project. Inclusive, though not exhaustive, of their own water, energy supply, roads, condos, and other buildings. And straight talk is not defending the CIU chairman. But only now we understand why Mark spoke about CBI fees that would have to be paid to the government of St. Kitts, and he said the government of Nevis. The two governments he talked about, when whether they wanted citizenship or not. But do not be surprised, my Straight Talk family, if Sharon Mama Brantley gets 10 or 15% commission on all that land. She's sourcing for the developer. But Straight Talk understands that the CIU chairman, St. Just, did not recommend cabinet approval for 10,000 shares at US $350,000. Do you know that's 3.5 billion US dollars or 9.5 billion EC dollars? Is it true that special concession was requested for the CIU board to sell shares at $250,000 to raise money to build out the same infrastructure for the Destiny Project? Was it anticipated that Daniel Brantley would provide any services? And these are the reasons I believe they had the attacks on the chairman. But there's plenty more in the matter than in the epistle. The issue involves broader politics, St. Kitts and Nevis rivalries, and not just one individual. But my friends, I leave you tonight to ponder. Why is Mark Brantley fighting so hard for this project? Why? Because his household, the Brantley's household, will benefit financially, and that cannot be denied. Mama Brantley lives with Mark, and she will earn millions. Wouldn't that go into the household? Yes, it would, my Straight Talk family. So, Sharon Mama Brantley is the only realtor engaged on the Destiny project. She has an exclusive deal. My Straight Dog family. Didn't Reject know? So when citizens believe that decisions are being shaped by family interests rather than the national interests, faith in institutions must collapse, would break down. If the spouse or the wife of a political leader is acting as the sole realtor or intermediary between a private developer called Olivier Janssen and landowners, while that same leader has final authority to approve the project, that must represent a glaring and unacceptable conflict of interest. Just the appearance of impropriety alone undermines public confidence in the NIA, in the government. The situation concentrates power, influence, and potential financial gain within the Brantley's household. Caller, I'm out of time. I'm going to give you 10 seconds. Can you use it?
Yes, Patches.
Please.
Great point. Great points by Mr. Politics there. 238 acres of land already done lost on Nevis back to the National Bank in the land for debt swap. So two things real quickly. What he's mentioning, that Destiny project is to a higher heights degree in terms of the land. And like Mark Brantley said in one of those clips, the government might get back the land, but the land will never go back to the people. So that Destiny project is similar to a land for debt swap. You know what I'm saying? And he put it right on the he hit the nail right on the head, man. That's where we got to pay attention.
Okay.
It's like a land for debt swap.
Okay, my brother. Thanks a lot.
Thanks a lot, Patches, man. You have a good night and get home safe. Thanks.
Thanks a lot for your intervention. And this situation, I was saying, concentrates power, influence, and potential financial gain within the Brantley's household. And when public decision making intersects with private financial benefit, it erodes transparency and raises serious ethical red flags. And I submit that the public office, what am I saying, of Mark Anthony Graham Brantley seem to have become a pipeline for personal enrichment. How can Mark Brantley, as leader of the NIA, be expected to impartially approve or reject the Destiny project when his own household stands to benefit financially from its success? That is not good governance, my Straight Dog family. Brantley's and his household are compromised, my Straight Dog family. There's no doubt that he's unhappy with the position. And it is clear, my Straight Dog family, that the Belgian developer wants to make billions of dollars selling our passports. My Straight Dog family, but there's plenty more in the mortar than in the pistol, as I said. The issue may involve broader politics, but Mark Brantley wants to be the emperor. My friends, people are watching and people are waiting, and many are saying that they have never seen the Premier Mark Brantley work so hard. But why, we ask? Because he's one signature away from hundreds of millions of dollars from the Destiny project. And that's my story tonight, my Straight Dog family, and I am not going to change it. I will thank Almighty God for guiding our conversation tonight, as always. I want to thank you, the many callers, the many viewers, listeners, and those who sent emails. I want to thank all of you. And remember that whatever your mind conceive, that you will achieve. But first of all, you got to believe. So when you wake in the morning, thank God for the morning light. Thank Him for taking you through the night. And my Straight Talk family, keep moving on. Bye-bye. Until we connect on Monday, have yourselves a wonderful weekend, my Straight Talk family.
That I will achieve, because I do the things I should, between my brethren kind and good. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, to reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. I'll keep moving on. That I will achieve, because I do the things I should, between my brethren kind and good. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. That I will achieve, because I do the things I should. When I wake in the morning, I thank God for the morning light, give Him thanks and praises for taking me safely through the night, for the rest of food and loving care, and for my mother's breath of life that's got me here. So whatever my mind conceive, that I will achieve, you better believe, because I do the things I should, to my brethren kind and good, the best I could. So I'll keep moving on, I won't stop now. I'll keep moving on, till I reach the top somehow. Down on my knees, to the Lord I kneel and pray, with my heart and soul, beg Him to take me through each day, my guardian to keep and my guide. Over every step I take, He will preside. reach the top somehow.